Well, I guess I should say wee, and welcome to today's Saturday Snapshot. And as you can tell, I'm not going to stay in that character very long. And in fact, you may be asking, what is this guy doing, in Paris, right? But really, this is an opportunity just to say what an amazing job Pastor Phyllis and her team did last night in our enchanted evening. Over 80 folks were able to come, 80 special friends of ours that were able to come and enjoy just a wonderful evening. Their caretakers, their families were just truly blessed by the love that they received from you and the volunteers that were here. I'd say we probably had over 100 folks that were on the dance floor, and so I just wanted to say what a special night it was. I hope you were able to be a part of that. I also thought, I'd take a few moments just to talk to you about this little structure that was behind me, the Eiffel Tower, as many of you are recognizing, and I'm hopefully, me with this little beret on is not totally distracting. But some things to think about, that when the Eiffel Tower was constructed, they had to dig almost 23 feet down on the ground to develop that foundation for it to stand upon. It's about 1,000 meters high, and there's over 2.5 million rivets that hold that structure together. We're talking about a structure that was built back in the late 1800s for the World Fair, and to make those rivets, it required a team of 4 guys that would come together. One person would get the steel together, another person would hold it in place, another person would shape the head, and then a 4th person would use a sledgehammer to knock the rivets into place. And there's 2.5 million rivets that are holding that structure together. There was over 300 folks that were involved in constructing the Eiffel Tower when it was built. We had probably about 4 or 5 guys that proved it didn't take 2 years to build the Eiffel Tower. They did it in a matter of a week, and they got some bumps and bruises along the way, but they did a wonderful, amazing job at putting that together, and it was truly a blessing for our folks last night. But that Eiffel Tower that's in Paris has over 7 million visitors each year, and if you wanted to go and buy the Eiffel Tower, in case you wanted a structure in your backyard or something like that, it cost you over $2 billion to do that. Why am I sharing that with you? Because Jesus talks about a builder who goes and builds, is wanting to build a tower, and lays the foundation, but he doesn't complete the work. What's that got to do with anything? Well, I'm still doing this sermon series on preparation for Pentecost, and one of the things that we're talking about is understanding the cost of discipleship, and for us to be able to obey God completely, which is what we'll be talking about tomorrow. We have to make sure that we're hearing God, because if we can't hear God, it's really impossible for us to know what God's will is. And if we don't know what God's will is, then we're not able to fully and completely obey God in that process. Hey, let me just share with you a few other things that are getting ready to go on in our church. Today also is Feed the Hungry, so you'll see them walking by throughout as I'm doing that. They're looking at, what is this weirdo with his yellow beret on talking about. But we are getting ready to launch a new reading group that'll start May 2nd. That'll be a Tuesday night at 6:30. And the title of that is going to be this book called Winning the War in Your Mind. Winning the War in Your Mind. It's by Pastor Craig Groeschel. Pastor Craig Groeschel is the pastor of what's called Life Church. It's one of the largest churches. It is, I think, the largest church in North America, but you probably may know his work a little bit better if you use the YouVersion Bible app. His church is responsible for being a part of that. So you'll get more information coming real soon, but I just want you to know that that's going to be the next reading group that I'll offer. Will be Tuesday nights at 6:30. So if you're interested in being a part of another reading group, that will be coming up. Also, I can't show you on my phone, but on your phone, we'll be starting a new group called the 1102 group, the 1102 prayer group. And that's really based on Luke chapter 11, verses 2, which is talking about the Lord's Prayer. And what I'm inviting you to do, and I'll talk about it again tomorrow is for you to go on your phone, whether it's an Apple phone or an Android or something like that, and put in your alarm where your alarm is. Set the time for it to go off every day at 11:02 a.m. And when that alarm goes off, we're going to ask that you just pause whatever you're doing, and you say the Lord's Prayer. And then when you finish the Lord's Prayer, I'd ask that maybe you have some names in mind, some people in mind who you know who are far from God, and just ask that you lift up their names. And the second part of that prayer is that you would pray that our church would truly become a church that obeys God completely. And again, I'll be talking more about what do I mean when I use that statement, obeys God completely, as we discern God's will. So that's called the 1102 prayer group, and I want to encourage you to join up and be a part of that. Be mindful that on May 13th, we'll have the United Methodist Women will be hosting the May Tea, and there'll be more information for you, but just go ahead and mark your calendar. That'll be Saturday, May 13th. Our snapshot is coming out a little late this morning because I spent the morning in our special session. Ruth and I were at a special session for annual conference, and during that conference, we voted to allow 55 churches to disaffiliate from the conference. This is part of that process, which means that as long as they pay the exit fees that they have, and each church has a different fee that they need to pay, that they will no longer be considered a United Methodist Church. Now, the reason I'm sharing that with you is because that's an important process, and it's a process that an entire church needs to be discerning together. And one of my concerns is that a lot of times when we as the United Methodist Church, so the United Methodist Church of the Palm Beaches, when we call together a church conference and we make these kinds of decisions, whether it's to disaffiliate, whether it's to purchase more property, whether it's to sell property, whether it's to have this person stay as any number of really life important decisions that we make as a church, we might get 20% of the community, of the professing membership, to come and be a part of that, and we need to have a better number. So in this case, when a church comes together and it votes on this process of disaffiliation, it needs to have a 2/3 vote. So let's say a church has a professing membership of 500, and 100 people show up on the night in which they're going to vote, and let's say 75 of those folks vote to disaffiliate. Well, it passes the threshold to disaffiliate. It had a 75%, and the 2/3 vote would be a 67%. But only 20% of the professing membership showed up for that vote, and so it really is important, that we have an engaged membership, but we also have folks who are becoming members of the church. And so I'll be starting up our next membership class the first Sunday in May. It'll be at 4:30. This will be an in-person meeting. And so if you've been coming to the church for a while and have never become a member, or if you've just started coming and you are interested in becoming a member of the United Methodist Church of the Palm Beaches, I want to encourage you to sign up and come and be a part of that class so you can understand what it means to be United Methodist and what it means to be a member of the United Methodist Church of the Palm Beaches. Hey friends, it is great to be with you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I pray God's blessings will continue to be with you throughout your day. And I think I'm gonna take a break now and go and have some pizza or something Italian along those lines. All right, take care and be blessed. Bye.